Oh, hey, didn't see you there. We're just sitting here reading our books about, the teenage experience, and, I think we should tell you about the book that I read was Running Loose by Chris Crutcher. It's about a boy named Louis who lives in Idaho with his parents. He's on the school football team with his best friend Carter, and the team has been state champs the last 2 years, so there's a lot of pressure riding on them for their senior year. Before the first game, their coach tells them to try to injure the other team's quarterback because he's like really good and they haven't played anyone that as talented as he is. So and Louis is not feeling all right with that because he thinks he's like a problem with it. And then in the first game, one of the kids on the team takes out the quarterback and Louis just freaks out and he quits after that he quits the team and goes on from there. So
my book is called Sunrise Over Fallujah by Walter Dean Myers, and it's about a 19-year-old boy named Robin Terry who is in the Army, and he's enlisted, and he's deployed to Iraq in the 2003 war. He's in a unit, civilian affairs unit, with a bunch of other people he gets to know. And the code name for their operation is Iraqi Freedom because they were trying to install a new government in Iraq instead of Saddam Hussein.
I read The City of Thieves by David Benoff, and it's about a teenager named Lev who lives in a besieged city, and his mother and sister had gone away, and he got imprisoned by the Germans. And while in prison, he meets a friend named Kolya, and the two of them have to go on a nearly impossible journey for 5 days behind German lines, and they encounter the German army, murderous city dwellers, and they form an unlikely bond of friendship.
Right, I read Fire in the Hills by Donna Jo Napoli. In this book, the main character, Roberto, he gets separated from his family. He's an Italian boy. He gets separated from his family in Venice after the Nazis take him, and he ends up in a labor camp. And for the majority of the story, he's pretty much just trying to make his way up from southern Italy up to Venice, which is in northern Italy. And along the way, he meets people such as Teresa and she's a member of a resistance group in Italy. She's trying to take down the fascist party and the Nazis in Italy.
All right, so whenever you're reading a book, family is an important aspect of it. And in my book, Louis lives with his two parents. He's an only child. He actually works at his dad's gas station, and just cleans around. And his dad sold him his old truck too. So
that's a lot like the Italian teenager in my book, Roberto. Right now, during the main part of the book, he's really he has to fend for himself. But when he was with his family at the beginning of his book, a lot like what you said, he's on a farm, he's working most of the time. He has a few friends, but pretty much most of the day he's working, doing chores on the farm to help his family get by.
That's very different from the teenager in my story. His father was a poet and was taken by the Soviet secret police, the NKVD, and his mother and sister had left his besieged city that they lived in, and then Lev was then arrested later for looting a dead body.
Yeah, in my book, the main character, he's in Iraq, and he has friends in his squad, but eventually they leave, and he writes letters to his Uncle Richie talking about his experiences, and he talks about the friends he made.
One thing we noticed in all of our books about our teenagers is that they all had to face some sort of challenge or challenges. In my book, Lev had to face challenges of the German army behind their lines, and he had to basically try to survive on his own.
In Fire in the Hills, main character Roberto, the main challenge he faces really is getting back to his family originally, but eventually he gets kind of pressured into joining the resistance by this girl he really likes named Teresa, and he finds a new cause, which is aiding the resistance in Italy.
My main character also has a hard time surviving. He's constantly trying to not be killed, and there's random enemy fire from people he doesn't know, and he can't shoot back until he's shot at himself, and there's random roadside bombings.
Well, I mean, Louis goes through difficult situations too. Like, he's not getting shot at or anything, but he goes through his own tough time. After he quits the football team, especially, he starts like going down. His life starts going downhill, and especially after his girlfriend Becky dies, she was in a motorcycle accident. So he was kind of upset with that. And when he went to her funeral, he like exploded and got really upset again. So after that, he was off the football team. He lost his girlfriend. So his life was like, he didn't know what to do with it anymore. So he had to try to come back from that.
So we're comparing our books to the average American teenage experience, or what we think that is. And mine, he doesn't have a very average teenage experience because he's in a war, and although some teenagers were deployed, most teenagers were just at home, and he has to worry about being bombed, and he can't be with his family, and he's going to be deployed for a while.
Well, in my book, I think Louis has, compared to all these other books, I think that Louis has the most average teenage experience. I mean, he goes to school, he's on the football team, he has a girlfriend, he works, part-time jobs, he lives with his parents, so from that sense, it's similar, but I think he goes through, like, really hard patches, like what happened for the football team, and especially with his girlfriend dying, like, not everyone goes through that. So, I mean, it's similar to an average teenage experience, but other than that, yeah.
In Fire in the Hills, Roberto and the people he meets along the way, they don't have anything really like the average teenage experience I think of. When I think of a teenager, I think you have your parents there to support you the entire way. You have a good time you have free time, there's schoolwork to do, and just really you have a bunch of friends and always something to do. But for Roberto, he sure does have a lot of things to do, but when he's doing something, it's not for fun at all. He doesn't have many friends. He's mainly just with his family, working, and especially throughout most of the book, he's moving around, trying to just remain hidden and away from the Germans.
I wouldn't say Lev's life is like a typical American teenager's, because typical American teenagers don't have to like go on nearly impossible journeys to, save their lives from being executed. And we don't just do that these days. We just go to school and do homework and play sports and stuff.
At him, and there's roadside bombings.
Well,
we could have kept going, but then you stopped. Sit down with us.
Jason, do you know we're not recording yet?
Just
Alright.
Is this just testing right now? Nope. Well,
Wait, is it recording?
no.
It is.
Wait, it is
but
recording.
We can just cut it out though.
Yeah.
Really.
Alright, let's
Can I order a pizza?
not yet. Alright, let's look at over our book.
I got them shirts.
Or we could have just not started recording it.
No, we can just start now. We can just cut down.
My phone can have like 2,000 hours.
Yeah,
So it doesn't
okay.
matter.
Okay. What are you doing?
Don't trust. Don't trust.
Not.
Don't trust.
I love how the iPhone is like as big as your computer.
Oh.
And pop-ups.
Nope, don't download.
Can we play that? Wait, can we like play music on the computer so it records on the phone? No, like classic, like quiet music. Don't even act like you're on video.
Yeah.
Alright,
It's not
so
even recorded.
yeah, it is actually.
It's not.
Stop. You guys.
Videos are so hard.
Open your book, Jason.
Just
Just
Jason,
Just
just
stick
try
it
to
there,
let
okay.
try to let us do this.
But we're like acting like it's a person that we don't see. It's
But
so-
it is.
No, it's
That Jason,
It's
Jason,
iPhone
Jason, Jason. Her name is Siri, Jason.
come on, you gotta be like.
What if you just took over and just, like hacked it? Wait, what'd you say in the thing?
Crutch crutcher.
Crunch crusher. The crisscross crutcher crutch.
What books are you reading? Well, my book is. I'm trying to do this.
It's hilarious.
Just don't look at
I
it.
looked up. I just
Sean is like,
no, that was all fine. And then I look over at Jason and see him like,
I was like,
Do a motorcycle.
Becky.
As soon as he said Becky, he's like,
Becky got red bus.
Girlfriend Becky, who's like a head cheerleader. What is stop laughing? All I'm saying is Becky.
It's hilarious. You changed the name.
You can't.
no,
That's
it wasn't even that. I was just waiting. What was the thing you like screwed up on before? Did you say
motorcycle.
Motorbike.
No,
I said motorbike.
No, to be completely honest right there, the whole time I was like this, I was just once I just knew as soon as I heard motorcycles, I wouldn't be able to hold it in any longer. And then
Okay.
I heard Becky.
Let's do like a leg day montage.
No.
I heard Becky and it just like slapped me in the face.
because it's already 4.
Okay. Guys, are you all ready now?
Not yet, not yet.
To the chopper.
Shut up. Are you done now?
Yes.